Ladies and gentlemen, Honourable Ambassador, I'd like to start by telling a little bit, a moment or so, on what is our project. What is it about? More than 4 years ago, a number of us came together to think about how best to bring micro-rural tourism businesses together so that they could access tourists from abroad. And it was at that time that we noticed that the Central Baltic Programme had a priority looking at how to increase income from outside of the European Union. And so we thought, this is just for us. The title of our project is Meta Cluster. We knew that there were already clusters of microtourism businesses working together, but how to bring them into contact with each other in sufficient numbers to actually interest tourists or travel agencies that were selling our products outside of Estonia, Latvia and Finland, and then outside of the European Union. And this is where we identified a priority that was already beginning to be recognized by our visits, visit Estonia, visit Latvia, visit Finland, that the Japanese market was interested in our region, the region of the Baltic states and Finland. So our project has had a strong emphasis on marketing. It's had a strong emphasis on product development, and in particular working through the embassies, through the associations with, you will meet in a short time a marketing expert from Japan, Mr. Noto, through all of these people to combine the strengths, to combine the competences of a range of different actors and agencies to attract the interest of travel agencies in Japan to take into their brochures and marketing our products. And I have to say that as one of the authors of the project, looking from 4.5 years ago, looking to now, I'm absolutely amazed. I'm blown away by how the industry and how you as micro-businesses have supported and encouraged us to develop in this project. So I think it's a major success, and as the ambassador was telling us, visitor numbers are booming, and we now have to look at how to take it further forward. One element of the project that I was working on in particular was this customer journey. How easy is it for foreign-speaking tourists to reach our micro-business destinations? And so this is what my short presentation is about, a little bit about our results. What you see here is where we got where we did our research. We got evidence from semi-structured interviews, from questionnaires, and we also did customer journeys with our students. They went out as secret customers and pretended that they didn't speak any of the national languages to see just how easy or difficult it was to navigate from a starting point to a destination across the borders, so from Finland through to Latvia and also shorter journeys. We looked at, in particular, how integrated our travel systems are, but road, rail, ferry, and how good it is and seamless it is to move from essentially urban start points to rural destinations. And frankly, it's not easy. There is no single ticketing available yet. But we will hear shortly about some interesting ideas from Finland about single ticketing, or at least integrating through apps, through online apps, about bringing rural travel services into one place. Sometimes it's not even easy to buy in advance a ticket on a rural bus service. In terms of the languages used, in urban areas, it is possible to find tourist information in a foreign language, in English primarily, because let's face it, not that many foreign tourists speak any one of our languages here in the Baltic states and Finland. In Latvia, there is a recognized issue on the language law, which is sometimes difficult to get round if you're outside of an international tourism or international transport node. It's sometimes difficult to find onward travel information from one bus service or one transport company's website into another. There are some websites that collect information. I was checking this morning, and even there is a mixture of languages. If you click on the English page, there is still local language on that page that you're looking at, which might give you critical information. For example, what happens on international holidays or weekends. That information is on piatas.ee in Estonia. It's in Estonian on the English page. And you wonder just how user-friendly this is, how difficult it can be if somebody makes a mistake. One of our students found that there were changes due to a holiday and that just happened, and the information was only put up in Finnish. I myself have been on train services in Finland again. The usual transport or timetable information was in English, which is fine, but there were problems, and this was only promulgated in Finnish. So I had no idea what was happening. I was lucky that there was somebody else in my carriage. I asked them, and they were able to explain in English to me. Is there information on rural bus stops? Yes and no. It goes from the excellent, where all services at that bus stop are provided, to the absolutely nothing there. In some Finnish bus stops, there's just a logo. This is a bus stop. But what happens at that bus stop, it doesn't say. Do any buses stop there? Well, you'll find out, I guess, if you wait long enough. They don't even have the name on them. At least in many in Latvia and Estonia, they do have the name of the bus stop. So you can be fairly sure you're at the right place, even if there's nothing about whether buses stop there. Do rural people speak English or any foreign language? Yeah, maybe they do. Or maybe they don't want to, and so they run away. In Hiiumaa recently, I was talking to people about whether farms could be included in a rural tourism package. And it was admitted that many of the owners or the workers on the farm, if they see somebody they think is foreign, they'll turn around and walk away because they are scared or unsure or lack of confidence in speaking a foreign language. I'm not saying that that is wrong. It's just perhaps the onus is on us, on our side, to try and encourage more interactions to raise the confidence. Are you able to speak to the bus driver or anybody else if you don't speak the local language? Well, it does depend on luck, whether this is possible. It's interesting that in an international bus line, such as Lux Express in Estonia, it varies. You do get information at the beginning of the journey in Estonian, and then you might get it in Russian and English from a CD, which is then played. On the other hand, if there is anything happens, then it's only in Estonian, and then when you get to the destination, you are told in Estonian what the intermediate stops are. But some drivers just love to show that they can speak English, and you get almost a commentary going on from the driver all the way through the journey in English. It's fantastic. You know that where you are and what's happening. It has been suggested that very often it's better to use Google Maps online for information, which is fine if you have an Estonian or a European Union roaming contract. If you are from Japan, then your contract maybe doesn't cover roaming in EU, or if it does, it's incredibly expensive, and they don't like to use it. Some Japanese mobile phones don't actually work on European networks, so they can't, unless they buy a European SIM card. Okay, then that's a possibility. Maybe we need to be better at informing them that this is perhaps what their situation is. I think a takeaway message from this is it's all about us providing the visitors with an information pack, or with the means by which they can get information. We need to inform them that it's possible at most destinations and in most towns in our 3 countries to get online with free Wi-Fi, and that information is available for them on travel, on onward progression in online that way. And in our transport hubs, to provide better, more usable information. Do we tell how to get to our destinations? What's interesting is that we have spent a lot of time telling people about what we have to offer, but less on how to actually get there. For example, in Lochia, on the website, it does tell you about how to get to Lochia, but it doesn't actually tell you how to recognize when you've got to the Lochia bus station. The bus station sign is very high up, and if you're sitting on the wrong side of the bus, you will not see it. The bus just pulls in, stops, people get on, get off, and then it drives on again. You don't actually know that you've got to that destination. So you have to be very aware as a traveler. The website doesn't actually link you to any local bus services to help onward progression. There is a move also away from what used to be called stagecoach, staged services, to this dial-a-bus, or you can book your bus before you go. This move away from regular timetable bus services is going to be difficult for planning of holidays. If you are a travel agent wanting to sell to the Japanese market a semi-led or perhaps semi-independent holiday, you need to have in place all of the travel arrangements, and this is what the Japanese side are asking for. If you cannot give them the last 5 or 10 kilometers, then you're not fulfilling the contract expectation of the Japanese side. So we need to look more closely at how we cooperate with incoming tourist agencies to provide the services and requirements that they need. Buying tickets in advance is quite an important and challenging issue. Many bus services are not required to give their timetables more than 10 days in advance in Estonia and in Latvia. I looked this morning in Estonia, and yes, there's still some companies that are not advertising what the bus service that they're offering is more than 10 days into the future. So if you want to travel in a month's time, then you're only able to access those services that are prepared to offer this information. And in Latvia, it's the same. So how is it possible then for a travel agent to book a full itinerary of tickets 6 months in advance? Similarly, there are issues going to the Estonian islands. Kihnu, I think, is a case in point. So the feedback that I got was, how is it possible for a rural person, a person from Japan wanting to book a rural holiday to do this 6 months or 9 months in advance online when they don't actually know very much about where we are, and they don't really have a terribly strong idea of the destinations. The suggestion is taking a car. The feedback from Japanese travel agents is that the costs of getting your family here are so high that then renting a car is quite expensive for them. If they do have a driving license, that is. Because if you're in Tokyo, then you don't need a car. You maybe don't have anywhere to put it. The travel is mostly done by public transport. Ladies and gentlemen, I have used up my time, and we have now come to an end. My slides will be made available, and so I hope that you have got a little flavor of some of the key issues that we found regarding our customer journey work. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.